It would seem that we're in the season of exposés, where so many nasty surprises are being sprung up on Kenyans. Lakini maneno ya wash. I have been flooded with many requests to do a video on this issue. And I have not done any show on this wash until now. Na sio maringo. You know, YouTube is full of videos done by people who don't understand what they're talking about. I prefer to wait until I have all my ducks in a row. Even if the story grows stale, that's okay. But I will not produce a video where I don't know what I'm talking about. And it is not that I'm slow in doing my research. No. I believe I have many advantages that allow me to produce a well-researched video very quickly. But this wash maneno, it is complex. I will confess research on it gave me a headache. But let's dive immediately into what I've been able to gather so far. I think it is important, first of all, to start with, to understand what wash is. It is actually a reference to money laundering. What is money laundering? And those of us who are very familiar with it, please be patient and bear with me. I want us all to go together, to move together on the same page. I will simplify a definition for money laundering. Say you start having a business tomorrow that gives you a turnover of 10 million Kenya shillings daily. Chances are that you have worked very hard, taken very huge risks, and maybe even done something illegal. Actually, most probably done something illegal to get this kind of daily turnover. So now you're rich, but you'll not be happy for long because you have a major problem in your hands. There is no way you can bank that kind of money. I can hear some naive person saying, "What are you talking about, Chris? That's my money." Yes. Yes, that's true. It's your money. But I can assure you, there's no way you'll be able to walk into a bank and bank 1 million Kenya shillings without being called aside and asked a few questions. You will need to fill in a form. Indeed, let alone putting money in the bank. Say somebody send you 2 million Kenya shillings or 1.5 million Kenya shillings and you walked into a bank wanting to withdraw that money. The bank will need to know the source of those funds. Even if you tell them it was a gift, from your old aunt living abroad, that won't cut it. They'll need more information. Banks report immediately to the government when somebody starts making hefty bankings daily. Bottom line, it is a red flag. And more often than not, over 90% of the times, there is something going on that is illegal. Now I can hear somebody else saying, "Hii Jubilee government inatufinya sana." Hold your horses. This does not apply only to Kenya. This is a worldwide thing. In fact, Kenya and many African countries were very late in monitoring the movement of money. I remember when I left school in the 80s, and I believe right up to the late 90s, it was very easy to walk into a bank and bank whatever amount you want. Nobody would ask you any questions. In fact, they'd be very happy with you. So much so that that day you would meet the bank manager. That man you have been trying very hard to see, and you are told it is not possible, they're busy. That day when you make a hefty banking in the 80s and 90s, they will insist that they want to meet you. And then they'll start telling you about how the bank can help you invest this money. So what do criminals and people doing illegal things do when they make so much money every day? They set up a business, Kumekucha Supermarket. And the illegal money is banked as money from this supermarket. Your sales during the whole day may have been zero, but you bank 10 million, 15 million. What that criminal has done is wash. Yeah, that is money laundering. Right here in our beautiful country called Kenya, yeah, a decade or two ago, a Kenyan who was an international drug dealer made a deal with a then very small supermarket called Nakumat. He brought in his drug money daily, and it was banked as the supermarket's proceeds, sales. And then things in Kenya got tighter. Yeah, things like invoices needed to be seen, yeah, to support the banking you're making. But by the time these new rules came in, this small supermarket was no longer small. It had become huge, with branches all over the country. So there was no problem. This drug dealer brought in the money, double-digit millions. The money was used to pay suppliers, the people bringing in their products in the supermarket to be sold. And then the supermarket wrote a check to the same drug dealer, spread over a number of companies, giving him back his money, yeah, which came into the supermarket dirty, but now is returning to this drug dealer clean. Yeah, the drug dealer, of course, had registered several companies. And in the end, this drug dealer also became a shareholder, a partner, director in this Nakumat. I've given that specific example deliberately, yeah, because in this wash manenos, I'm sure you've heard there are businesses involved. People set up businesses. And I think now you understand very clearly why setting up a business or how setting up a business helps somebody to clean money. Yeah, money laundering. Wash. Help somebody to wash their money. Now, before I came in to make this recording, I listened to an audio that has almost gone viral on social media, where a woman's voice is warning Edgar Obare. Edgar Obare is the blogger who broke this mind-boggling story. And this nice lady was telling Bwana Obare that he must have balls of steel. Wewe uko na makende ya chuma kweli. And she was warning, yeah, this Bwana Obare to lie low. We kwenda chini ya maji kabisa. Now, although I don't agree with everything this lady said, yeah, on this particular audio, I'm going to play it here, yeah, because it will give you a very good idea of what we're talking about and how huge and complex this issue is. So just listen in for a minute. Yeah, I'll be back.
Edgar, una balls za chuma ama wa? Ushaisikia kucheza na makende ya simba? Umekanyaga moto na si ya makaa. Fanya hivi, nitakusaidia. Bora ukiwa chai yangu usiongee. Wewe unaweza kosa kuongea kweli. Sikia, mahali uko, change simu, uanze kutumia mulika mwizi. Sawa, change simu yenye unatumia, na mahali uko, toka hapo uende mahali mtu hajui, mahali beste yako, mahali mtu, yani mahali mtu hajui, uende ukae kama wiki 2. Umechezea moto, na si ati nakutisha, sio mimi nakutisha, mimi sina noma. But kuna watu umetoa story zao na wanaga, hebu nikuulize swali, unaona ule boy Kevo alishandwa tu juu ya, Kevo alishandwa juu ya kufikiria, yani walimfikiria amewakosea wakamshanda na hawajaifungwa. Edgar, elewa kitu moja, hii ni Kenya. So, hao watu wanapiga hizi deal, wanapeaga gava, wanapeaga system kitu. Najua juu mimi nimeolewa na mmoja wao. Wanapeaga system do. Ndio maana unaona kwa gazeti mnaambiwa mtu anatafutwa, lakini in real life ako kwa club anakunywa. Mtu anaenda anapewa bail ya 300,000 hata milioni, na kwa account ako na milioni 100. What's that? Yani, in other words, gava ndio itatumika kukushika wewe, na gava ndio itatumika kukufunza adabu wewe. Yani wanataka kutumia makarao kukunyamazisha. Tafadhali. Mimi najua wewe unajaribu kufanya tu venye watu, wewe unajaribu, wewe ni true hustler. Achana ama falo wanajiita hustler nation huku nje. Wewe unajaribu kusurvive bila kuiba ama bila kufanya ufala zenye watu wengine wanafanya huku nje. To me, you are much better. Afu sasa unajua ni nini na washtua? Sijui kama nafani kuambia hivi, but wacha tu nikuambie ndio uchukue hizi message serious, usione ni kama tu nakuamdikia ati nakuambia tu juu naweza ongea. Mtu mkubwa kabisa kwa hii game ya 419, mtu mwenye amefanya hii mchezo inachezeka, mtu mwenye anafanya hata awashikwi, mtu mwenye anawaprotect na mtu mwenye anawaonesha njia ni DP. DP walikosana na unye kwa sababu ya kufanya wash. Uwezi kwa weni deputy president alafu unafanya biashara haramu, unasabotage the economy. Do ilichangiwa juu ya DP na hizi mchezo zao. Walikuwa na clean door mob sana. Do ikachangiwa juu yao. Sasa hebu niambie, watu network imeenda mpaka top of the cream. Sasa mpaka sasa unaona amechangiwa guts, sababu anatumia guts zake vibaya, anatumia mamlaka yake vibaya kucheza hizi deal za uongo. Ule mtakisha alikuwa hapa, hata yeye hizo deal tu alikuwa amekuja kufanya. Ni kunoma, usione nchi imenyamaza tu. Uwezi niambia watu wana export magari, wanazilipia ushuru, gava inajua. Gava iko na intelligence kubwa sana mpaka inajuaga nani. Mimi mwenyewe naongea na wewe sahi hivi, mimi niliachanaga na mtu wangu juu ya kuandamwa na wanaitwaji private intelligence. Private intelligence wanakuja, wanakuhonga hao wenyewe, wanakupatia vitu fulani, unapandikiza kwa jako, kwa kiatu ya huyo mtu wako. Akienda hizo mamikutano zao, DCI mahali wako wanasikia conversation, watu wengine mahali wako wanasikia conversation mahali ziko. Google Balloon ilikuja hapa juzi, Uhuru akaannounce watu wameletewa Google Balloon for internet. Hamkujua ni intelligence Uhuru anawafanyia. Watu wanafikiria gava ni fala, lakini in the real sense hao watu wote watamadwa one by one. Wewe ngoja ujione, lakini kaa safe. Sawa? Kaa safe na uende chini ya maji. Na ikiwezekana usijaribu kuongea. Mimi nakwambia Edgar, life ni fickle sana. Kuna mtu amekaa mahali anangoja deal ya milioni 100. Alafu anaona wewe umepost, unaweza muharibia hiyo deal ama unaweza leta noma fulani kwa hiyo deal. Kwa nini wewe usishandwe? Kwa nini wasipange wasike? Alafu acha nikwambia kuna watu ruthless kama watu wanakula pesa ya wanaume wenzao bure. Juu watu wa wash ni watu wa kuniani, ni kama mimi ukiniuliza watu wa wash ni kama mashoga, ni watu wa kukula pesa ya wanaume wenzao bure. Hajachokea pesa, ajui kwenye pesa imetoka, anaibia mwanaume mwenzake. Alafu anajitamba huku nje akijifanya yeye ndio king. Wacha nikwambie, mtajua gavani kusema nini. Hao watu, mark my words, one after the other tutawazika. Unajua the epitome of all this, DP juzi mtoi wake ameolewa. Ameolewa na nani? Si ameolewa na Mnaija. In other words, Kenya mnafahamu elewe, inchi iko kwa hatari. Kwa nini? Kwa sababu DP anajipanga in such a way that akiingia anataka atengeneze do yake. Yani anataka atengeneze do iko na uso yake. Unajua hiyo ita set back economy vibaya sana. Na nani anataka waumie economically wa Kikuyu? Si ati ninaongea hivyo ati juu ya nini ama nini. Lakini obviously zile vitu zenye zinapangwa sio vitu nzuri na sio vitu zinafaa zitufae sisi. Unaelewa? So watu wa wash, ukiona mtu anapiga wash anafanya ukora na vijana, achana nao kabisa. Juu wanaogopa hata DP anaweza tajwa. So achana hiyo story. Juu sooner rather than later mtu ataongea tu aseme hata deputy ama kwani nani tumejuaje deputy anafanyaga? Si ni hao wanaongea. Nikwambie kitu. Unawe ukipost mambo yako, try kupost sana vitu za relationship, za mapenzi, za nini. Avoid sana vitu za gava. Avoid vitu za gava juu zitakuletea shida. Gava inaitwa serikali juu siri yenye inakuwaga imebeba ni kali sana. Mimi sahi nakuambia do ili demonetiziwa juu ya DP. But huwezi sikia anywhere else. Hakuna mtu anajua siri yenye inafanyika behind the curtains kati ya ugomvi ya Uhuru na Ruto. But the truth is, Uhuru na Gava wanatry sana kucontrol ukora ya Ruto. Ujamaa ako na ukora yenye jaionekana. Hakuna politician ako na ukora kama yeye. Na watu wako tangatanga wako side yake kwa sababu anawaonesha miradi za do. Yani hawayuko side yake ati juu anatuhurumia sisi kama wananchi. Anaonesha watu miradi za do. Na miradi za do ni kuibia wanaume wenzake. Sasa hiyo ni heshima gani mtu anajiitatieni anataka kuwa leader na yeye mwenyewe ni mwizi? Rudisha akili yako nyuma. I wish, yani saa zingine na wish gineza kaa chini na wewe nikupe tu file ya DP ama nikupe. Ubaya sasa unaweza run story ya DP wewe. Ukirun story ya DP umeenda jo. But sasa honestly honestly somebody should tell you so that you can know and stay away from these people. Watu wa wash ni watu wa DP. Mtu asikudanganye. Hakuna cha big boy. Mtu anaibia Mwarabu, anaibia mkubwa wa Dubai na ako mpaka saa hii. Wewe unafikiria Gava ama unafikiria watu watakuja kufanywa aje? Tunawazika one after the other. Wewe utakuwa tu nasikia mtu sijui but wote sikudanganyi wanazikwa. Yani ni kunoma. Wanaume hawezi kuwa wamegeuza nchi. Ati unajua Nigeria venye inaogopa economically. Hivyo ndio Kenya inaenda kuogopwa pia. Kwa sababu watu wamekuwa sasa investor hawezi kuja afanye.
Now, to fully understand this wash thing, I also recommend that you try and watch a movie, a very old movie. It's called The Godfather. And it may interest you very much to know that this Mario Puzo novel was one of my major textbooks, very important textbook, during the days of my political lectures by my political lecturer. And of course the movie is based on the book, which is about the Mafia. My late political lecturer always used to emphasize that Mafia is politics. That's exactly the way politics runs, the way it works. You know, we have analysts in the country called Kenya who analyze politics in such a manner that it is easy to believe that high-stakes national politics is not different from standard 7, standard 8 primary school politics to elect a class prefect. Bottom line, in my view, that book by Mario Puzo, The Godfather, was perhaps the most important textbook my political lecturer used to educate me, open my eyes on exactly how politics works. Now, I've given you all this boring background information, for the simple reason that what I'm about to say, you would never have believed, had I not started with this background. And this is what I want to say. This wash manenos is very political. It is tied very closely with our political class. You see, in the Godfather movie, the main character, the Godfather, Don Corleone, had powerful politicians, judges, cops, etc., in his pockets. And he paid all of them a retainer, money regularly. Think of this wash business in Kenya in exactly the same manner. And I think now you're starting to understand what I meant when I say it is complex, very complicated. We are told that one particular wash guy here in Kenya had a misunderstanding with somebody and they took their gun and shot that person dead. And I want to believe this is very normal in these wash manenos. Now, if you're a very rich guy in Kenya, maybe you made your money from government contracts, etc., you would not behave in this way. No way. So the reason why this guy did this without any qualms must be because they knew they are protected. Even if the family of the person who was shot dead went to the police, nothing was going to happen. And if by bad luck, a cop was not in the loop, brought in a lot of kerehere, and the thing ended up in court, it would still go nowhere. Because certain people would insist that it goes before a certain judge, who would ensure that it goes nowhere. Do I remind you that in the country called Kenya, we have so many cases that we read about where somebody is arraigned in court, charged, and the charges are even read to them, alafu hiyo maneno inaisha hapo. 10 years later, 15 years later, hiyo kesi bado iko kotini. We also have cases, let me remind you, where evidence disappears. A file disappears. You know, even if you take somebody to court with watertight evidence, and then the file where all this evidence is, together with the evidence, vanish into thin air, there's no way you're going to take that person. You cannot jail, you cannot prosecute a person with zero evidence. That's not possible. Now you'll understand if I tell you that these wash-wash manenos are huge. Wash-wash cuts right across the political divide. Politicians and individuals on both sides of the political divide are involved. Now, we know that this wash-wash manenos operates in the 3 major cities in Kenya. That's Nairobi, Mombasa, and Kisumu City. I just want to make it clear that there's no chance it'll reach your Shago anytime soon. Because I know how Kenyans think. Kenyans can never resist a chance to make a lot of money quickly, to show people who they are. And I'm sure there may be somebody out there who is waiting anxiously for this wash-wash to reach their gishagi. It ain't happening. And the reasons are obvious. Hakuna pesa hapo gishagi kwako. This thing operates where there's a lot of money floating around. Now I want to tell you a story I came across as I was doing research for this particular story. A very prosperous businessman in Kisumu, who was doing very well, owned a shop that was very busy, ran into some cash flow problems. It happens in any business. And usually it's temporary. People get over it. But these people, and this is instructive, who approached him must have had this information that the person was going through cash flow issues, which forces us to include another group of people into Don Corleone's list of people in his pocket. Bankers, people who work in banks, senior people in banks. Wah. You see, it is not easy for any junior bank employee, say a teller, to be able to access details of a client's financials. Anyway, when they approached him, they knew he was desperate. And so they introduced him to a deal involving some mercury. And this businessman, who was already having problems, serious cash flow problems, somehow managed to raise 6 million and put into this project, where he had been assured that within no time, his money will come back as 50 million. And of course, this didn't happen. He was left holding something very fake, and his 6 million gone. Now, you don't have to believe this next part of the story, but I have reason to believe it's absolutely true. This man went into a popular market in Kisumu and purchased a rope to hang himself with. And some people who care about him heard about this and rushed and saved him seconds before he was due to hang himself and leave this earth. And he returned and continued with the struggle. But barely 2 months later, his life changed. his problems vanished. He became a wash person. That tells me that some people who are victims, who are conned, end up joining the wash gang. You know, at the beginning of my research, I was asking myself, why aren't these con men ever arrested? But now we know the simple answer. Yeah? Don Corleone, what he had in his pocket. And that is why these wash people are so confident. Yeah? Indeed, one victim was told, relax, this is a job just like any other job. Can you imagine that? Conning people out of their hard-earned money is a job just like any other job. What? Can you even begin to imagine somebody saying that? It means that some Kenyans have been convinced that criminal activities, indeed criminal activities which cause a lot of damage to another human being, is just a job like any other. Until next time, this is Chris Kumekucha.